Like, I need to get to the Conan panel dressed as Vermouth. And a lot of you probably go, I don't know who Vermouth is. And that's fine, because we're going to tell you, because this panel is Defective Conan Case Closer, a presentation about Detective Conan. I'm Max.
I'm Natalie.
I'm Thomas, and I thought this was why Gen 7 is Pokemon. I have to talk about whatever this is.
And we are the foundation for the eradication of Gen 5 Pokemon. You can follow our various social medias using that QR code right there. Yeah, get out of here.
They're happy.
I'm so happy. I only have one more panelist to take out now.
No, this means more screen time for me.
No, I'm doing all of his parts. Anyway, some of you may be going, who is Detective Conan? And that's fair. I don't remember Detective Conan very much. For me, he kind of just existed as this advertisement between episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho and Inuyasha on Adult Swim. And me going, that looks dumb. But then Natalie was like, I want to give a panel about Detective Conan. And then a month later, she was like, I don't know how to give a panel about Detective Conan. And we were like, screen time. I love screen time.
I like it.
And so here we are to talk about Detective Conan.
Well, as a certified Letterboxd user, I decided to start with the pinnacle of film, movies. And out of all these movies, the one that intrigued me the most was movie 18, Dimensional Sniper, and then I looked at the reviews. So I started at the next best thing, Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan, and I quickly realized...
Yeah, no, keep going.
I quickly realized who my favorite characters were. They were, in Lupin the Third, Daisuke Jigen, Fujiko Mine, Inspector Zenigata, and Goemon. And before I knew it, I had watched the entirety of Detective Conan Part 1, Detective Conan Part 2, and that edgy movie where Ron smokes a bong.
Thomas, this isn't Conan. Ron would never do that.
But that's Conan.
I think that's Fujiko. You can tell because, you know, the anatomy there. Oh, you turned it off. Damn, we did it. We're so professional.
Okay, Detective Conan is actually about this teenage detective named Shinichi Kudo, who gets hit with a baseball bat in the first episode and drugged by some bad guys, whose poison turns him into a 7-year-old child. Now, like all children, he's a freeloader, living with his best friend Ron and her father Kogoro, or Richard if you watch the Funimation dub. Now, Kogoro is a private investigator who's not very good at his job, so lucky for Conan, he can invite himself on all the cases he wants to. To conceal his identity, Shinichi adopts the alias Conan Edogawa based on the book titles on the shelf behind him. Which, considering Shinichi's fandom of Sherlock Holmes, should have been an obvious tell for Ron.
Wait, he's a Sherlock Holmes fan? I didn't think that. No. I thought you were a true Conan head, because you are half right on that. Those are Sherlock books. But they aren't Sherlock Holmes books. See, the thing is, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he is like the 50 Shades of Grey author to the original works, the twilight of that series. That's right, Miyazaki's Sherlock Hound.
Wait a sec. I can read Japanese. That's clearly said Holmes.
Clearly you can't read it well. You should get your money back.
That's what I get for taking it in high school and not college.
It is. So, as I guess the foremost Detective Conan expert of this panel, someone who has seen several advertisements for it on Adult Swim, I know the perfect watch order. Are you ready for it? It's the machete watch order. You start by watching episodes 4 and 5 first. Circle back 1 through 3. Wham, bam, thank you, man. You're ready for anything. You can watch episode 6. You can even watch the Lego special.
I personally would recommend you start with Detective Conan's green or red jacket era, the dub, of course. And once you're done with that, finish the red jacket era subbed, I don't care. And finally, you can hit either the pink or blue jacket era, whichever one you like most.
Wait, Thomas, this is Lupin again. Conan doesn't wear different colors.
Conan doesn't have a driver's license.
Are you sure?
He's 7.
For essential viewing, I would approach watching Conan like it's super serious business, with the consistency of a workout routine. I'm talking 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 10 episodes of Conan. What are you guys arguing about?
I'm telling him to keep his shit together.
Good. But if you're lazy, just watch the essentials, aka my favorite episodes. Now, you do need to start with 1 through 3, though. Just get that set up. Then you can watch episode 7. This child who's about to be murdered, he shares a birthday with me. So I felt really represented. Conan, he fails at product placement by playing a game man instead of a Game Boy.
Wait. He's trying to pretend he's 7 and he's not playing a Game Boy.
You know, he kind of messed up here.
That thing only has AO games.
And in this episode, Ron puts together, maybe, just maybe, Conan is actually Shinichi. And then she gets gaslit. Speaking of getting gaslit, you should also watch episode 11. You know this episode. You're not the only one it haunts. It also haunts Shinichi. It's the only episode that ever scars him for life.
Wait, so you're telling me that he has been a crime solver for his entire 17-year-old life, and it takes this long for him to finally find a case and go, wow, that's kind of fucked up.
She threw him out a window and lit the building on fire.
That's a normal
pretty cool,
Tuesday.
actually.
Not only that, she was also, her secret identity was revealed to be the Super Mario 64 magic piano.
Okay, I can see why that's scarring.
Yeah, that's a little thing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You know, we could get caught up in the pronouns.
I feel like you're going to be a problem, sir.
It's okay. Moving on. Episode 43 is the one where Shinichi's parents do some LARPing. And they kidnap him. It's really
Wait. Why is she dressed like Daphne?
A better question, Max. Why are you dressed like Daphne? And where are your friends? Anyway, I got more episodes.
Rude.
It's okay. Just watch these episodes of Conan and it'll make you feel better. And
That's a lot of episodes. I have to watch that much just to understand what this series is about.
you do. It's really important. Okay.
Can you, like, Cliff Notes this?
Okay. I sat down in my room and I came up with this. But not just by myself. I consulted with the Conan community and we came to the conclusion that you can figure out everything you need to know about Conan through infographics. Now, this one, it'll teach you about the bad guys in Conan, who, they're only in like 30 episodes, but it's the plot everyone cares about. This one summarizes some key plot details in the Rum arc, and this one teaches you about drugs. This one seems to be done by someone who's like just trying to guess the GPA of the characters, I guess. I don't know.
Actually, before we move on, I think we should discuss what Conan's wearing. You're like, okay, here's the thing. So he gets transformed into the 7-year-old version of himself and still has what I assume is his bar mitzvah outfit just kicking around. Sports coat, cool. Red bow tie, nice. He's wearing shorts and sneakers. You can't wear shorts and sneakers with a sports coat.
I think you can.
Yeah, he's wearing the Zoom formal.
This is bullshit. So I worked in the Capitol, and I had to wear a jacket and pants, even if it was 110 degrees outside. My boss would make me go outside and get her favorite cigarettes. And you're telling me I could have done that in shorts.
Yes, you could have. Also, remember, we're in Seattle. When you say capital...
Oh, yeah. California. Yeah, the Central Valley where everything is awful. Speaking of, like, awful and probably illegal behavior from my boss, let's discuss all of these people who willingly hang out with a small child.
Wait. Max, you don't understand. Some of them knew him before he was 7.
I don't care if he's mature for his age. He is 7.
Okay, well, let's talk about Ron first. She's not creepy at all. She knew him before. It's okay. And now, she's really great at karate, so she can both beat people up to save the day, and also shatter innocent people's car windows.
That is, anyone who owns that is not innocent. Thank you. I'm glad to know that you're cool. Yeah. Let's move on.
In fact, if she were there during that first episode, she could have taken the baseball bat like a champ. And this whole series could have been an OVA, and we all would have been sad.
And this panel wouldn't have happened.
And I would have been happy.
Not only that, but in a world where everybody acts like seeing a dead body is absolutely nothing, just a regular Tuesday, Ron will have a normal human reaction and freak out. And now, if Conan was a harem manga, Ron would be the protagonist. Like, first she's got Shinichi crushing on her since they were kids. Then she's got little Conan, who loves his Ome-san very much. Her friends Sonoko and Sarah, they are in love with her. Dr. Araide, he literally proposes to her, even though he's 8 years older, and last time I checked, Ron is in high school. Ace wanted to whisk Ron away to America, and Conan had to bully him out of the series. Okita starts flirting with her the moment he sees her. And I haven't even mentioned Mr. Steal Yo Girl himself, Kaito.
But who does she end up with?
I don't know.
That's right.
Is this... Wait, did you watch, like, spoilers for the end of the series that I didn't see?
At least I thought they were spoilers.
Speaking of other characters, we have Kogoro. He's Conan's caretaker and supposedly a detective, though I do not believe the stats bear that out. He's been in 741 episodes as of when I made this slide over a year ago. So what, 742 now, given like episode rates? And most of them have been solved while he's sleeping, which honestly, I wish I was that good at my job. And, you know, when he's not wasting department time sleeping, which is based, he's wasting the resources on other things like simping for idols and horse racing. Hero. Not only that, he's a dedicated father, bringing his adopted son on nearly every case. I didn't realize the Tokyo Police Department declared every day Bring Your Kid to Work Day. I'm already dealing Bring Your Kid to Convention Day, and I can hardly stand it.
Can I get a juice box?
No.
Wait.
You've been terrible.
Max, can I play with the Beyblades later?
No, no. I didn't bring the Beyblades, so you can't play with them. Okay, but honestly, I think I figured out why someone as lazy as Kogoro would be a detective. Have you seen the face he makes when he gets hit by a stun gun? We've seen that face before. And honestly, I want it on a hoodie. Sell it.
My favorite character, honestly, is Inspector Zenigata. He's the only competent person in this whole thing. Honestly, he never lets Lupin get away with it. And I just really think he adds a whole new dimension to Detective Conan.
Thomas, that's a Lupin character, not Conan. I honestly, I need to give you some reading material, so please review this before your next slides.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Here. Could you please present some actual Detective Conan material?
So this is a Detective Conan character, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
All right. From my understanding, this is Hiroshi Agasa, Conan's scientist friend who gives him inventions and all sorts of stuff. But Agasa's kind of cool. He has a very long and storied backstory that was by far the most interesting part of Detective Conan. I like the part where he worked together with scientific colleague Dr. Wily to create 6 robot masters. And while Wily was off being an evil ninja, he made like super fighting robot to defeat the masters of Gutsman, Cutman, Tankman, Iceman, Bomberman, and the most terrifying one of all, Mecha Mewtwo Man.
You read her fanfic.
So that's why it was inappropriate.
Did you like it?
No. We're not reviewing your fanfic right now. We're supposed to be talking about Detective Conan and what is theoretically canon, not whatever this is. Please continue with real Conan material.
Okay, you guys should follow me on AO3. Eventually, with the L's are both ones.
To be clear, this is an actual fanfic she wrote.
Let's talk about Chiba, one of the cops in the series. Now, I got a bone to pick with the characterization he has in one of the episodes. It turns out he has this childhood friend, Miyake Naoko, and she tries to get him on a diet. Then a few weeks later, because her coworkers are starting to think that he's hot, she deliberately influences him to gain weight by mailing him anonymous gifts of chocolate. Like, first off, Chiba, you idiot. Why are you eating food sent with no return address? And Naoko, this is the person you supposedly love, whose health you're just toying with.
I mean, I actually know someone who just ate anonymous food that was delivered to them through DoorDash. I'm not kidding. My ex, she was getting like deliveries of food and soda early pandemic, and she's like, "Guess I'm supposed to eat this." I'm like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. Anyway, speaking of bad decisions that should be made by children, let's talk about the Detective Boys. I think calling themselves Detective Boys is pretty aspirational. I mean, have they ever solved a crime in their lives? They just seem like they're kind of there, so Conan has someone to bounce off of that's not creepy for him to hang out with. Like, I mean, it is, because again, he is a 17-year-old in a child's body. There's no one cool for him to hang out with except I, and that's it. Anyway, the dynamic with the Detective Boys is very Blue's Clues-esque, where Conan plays as Steve, trying to just guide the Detective Boys into solving the case so it doesn't look like he's, good at his job. And, okay, I'm being mean to them again. I need to stop doing that. So, first we have Conan. He's apparently the actual leader. Then we have I, who is just, Conan but a girl. Then we have Mitsuhiko, who is there. And then we have Heiumi, who is there and a girl. And then we have Genta, who has some really weird ideas on how to attract women. Primarily the fact that maybe he thinks if he can bully Conan, Ayumi will be into him, but that's not how it works. And oh no, I'm being mean to children again. Detective Boys, I'm sorry. I don't know why you keep getting invited into episodes, but it's fun when you're there. I just wish you'd get better hobbies. Birding is stupid. I don't want to hear about your eBird account. I'm sick of it. Get a cool hobby. Thomas.
What? I didn't do anything.
You're going to tell me about a barn swallow you saw later, aren't you?
Yes.
When activated, tuck one card under this card and draw another one from the deck.
Okay, Max, you didn't talk about Hybra enough, so I think I need to talk more about her. Now, she claims to be a scientist, but she doesn't have me fooled for a moment. Like, her non-stop flowery metaphors reveal she's actually an accomplished writer. That's right, Hybra is a YouTube video essayist. But not only that, unlike some of the other characters, she actually gets character development throughout the series. Like, first, she's thinking, oh man, I feel so bad about what I did. I want to die on an exploding bus. Please let me do this. Then,
how often are there exploding buses in Japan?
There's at least like 5 a year.
If I've learned anything from this series, this is the criminal hellscape that the current administration is trying to make us think America is.
And then, hundreds of episodes later, Hydra has found her will to live by standing a celebrity athlete. It becomes her entire personality. And when she loses the merch she has of said athlete, she wants to ride a bus again.
Autographs are a floor below.
So her life cycle of character development is ride on a bus hoping to die, find a piece of merch, dedicate yourself to that merch, lose that piece of merch, ride on a bus until you die.
Yes. And she's an invaluable ally for Conan. Not only is she his drug dealer, but she also helps look after the detective boys when Conan isn't around. Let's be honest, Conan is no detective of love. Now, if it weren't for Ai's advice, there's no way Shinichi would have ever gotten together with Ron. Yeah, I know it took 1,000 chapters, but without Ai's help, it would have taken over 9,000.
So now we're going to talk about some rivals in the Detective Conan series. So I'm going to show you a character. Yeah, I'm just going to keep making that joke. I'm not sorry. I'm going to show you a character, and if you believe they are one of Conan's rivals, I would like you to raise your hand. And if you do not believe they are one of Conan's rivals, do not raise your hand. Does this make sense? Cool. First up, we have OC Do Not Steal Detective Conan. Cool. Most of you are, I like how hesitant, you're like, I'm going to raise it halfway so I can, change my mind once he tells me if it's right or wrong. It's right. This is Heiji Hattori. He's basically Osaka Conan. So he likes baseball instead of soccer. He's the first person to introduce Conan is actually Shinichi, which is pretty impressive given he's not even introduced into the series until episode 48. And I think he's a better detective than Conan merely from the fact that he carries a baseball bat around with him instead of a soccer ball. What are you going to do with a soccer ball? That is useless when you're facing nameless criminal organizations. A baseball bat is a lot more effective. Next is Jiro, who dreams of sushi, a Detective Conan villain. I like that no one wants to raise their hand with Thomas, which is fair, but somehow he is right, because it is Kinoru Akita, who is also Rum, second in command of the secret board of shadowy figures.
Max, this is spoilers!
It's been out since 2018. If you have not watched this episode yet, that's on you. Anyway, so Rum, the second in command of the secret board of shadowy figures, and according to the Detective Conan wiki, his age is about 67 years ago, he was only a child.
That could mean anything.
It really could.
It makes sense in the context of the series.
Anyway, next is this hipster a Conan rival. Either raise your hand or don't. You're so unsure. Thank you. You're wrong. I mean, he's a character in Conan. His name's Ray Furuya, and he is a detective, but I think calling him a rival is generous. He works for the NPA as a spy for the Black organization while moonlighting as a bartender. He's also good at fighting and driving, which means he's basically Dominic Toretto. And one of his aliases includes Toru. But there's a fatal flaw in all of this. What would otherwise be an incredibly accomplished detective is actually an apprentice detective for Kogoro. And if you are Kogoro's apprentice detective, you are not a real detective. At least he got his own spin-off series. I mean, it got canceled just like his voice actor, but... Next is Kaito Kid, one of Conan's rivals. Why is he one of Conan's rivals? You're right. I want to know why. Huh? No, that's not why. Wait, first, which Kaito Kid is his rival?
The younger one.
Yeah. Kaito the Third.
Why do we keep letting him put Lupin references in his mouth?
So Kaito is his rival. It's not because Conan can't catch him. That's just, thrill of the hunt. It's a Tom and Jerry situation. He could if he wanted to, but he chooses not to. for the love of the game. No, it's because Kaido was able to convince Ron that he was Conan just to get into her pants. I like how excited you are about that. You just want someone to impersonate your significant other. So yeah, it's just that is why. Next up is Fujiko Mine, a Detective Conan character. No.
Yeah, she is.
What did you do to my slide?
She's in Book on the Third versus Detective Conan. As a rival for Conan.
I think that makes her a rival.
I'm right. I'm always right. I win.
I'm with that guy. So now we're going to talk about gadgets. Detective is only as good as the gadgets they use, and boy, does Conan use some gadgets.
My favorite gadget? Voice-changing bow tie. Agasa made it for Conan. He could sound like anything or anyone. Mostly, he uses this for the sleeping Kokoro routine, where he knocks the real adult in the room out and then child-splains to everyone else what's going on. Here's a little secret, though. I do this as well. So usually during the pre-panel Denny's lunch...
No, I would never go to Denny's. I have
standards, man. The pre-panel IHOP
Thank
lunch,
you.
right after Max is done paying for my meal, because I don't have a good income.
I would also never do that.
I knock him out, and then weekend at Bernie's him to the local convention center where we give the panel. And if you can't see me, don't worry, I'm right there under the table.
God, I don't remember that.
That's the point, yes.
Wait, you can give the whole Sonic panel yourself?
Yeah, only the old version, though.
Having a crisis.
It was me the whole time.
Oh no. No wonder they won't invite me back.
So Conan's shoes, these are clearly his most powerful gadget. And you know how I know this? It's because I can't name myself after them in Roblox. Now, Conan uses these to kick so many things, from soccer balls to flashlights to walkie-talkies, even cabbage. And like these days, he's almost exclusively using soccer balls. I think that's a mistake. He would have so much better luck with heavier objects, like rocks, bricks, or that box of CDs people are trying to sell outside the con. But on second thought, kicking those objects sounds like an invitation for injury for Conan. But that's not the only way these shoes could be hurting him. I'm concerned whether he's getting the arch support that he needs. He's been wearing the same shoes for 1,000 episodes. Agasa's no Dr. Scholl's. So I hope Conan is hitting up the store for some inserts. I hope he's getting the good ones. And I hope you guys know what Fleet Feet is, and that's not a California
How much are you paid to do that section? Are you getting paid for these? I've been doing panels for 8 years, and I've never gotten paid. I've gotten paid one time.
I'm not allowed to disclose how much they gave me.
I just do this for attention. Not from you, from Max.
I did it for attention from you.
Okay, but really, like, what could these superpower kick shoes do for us? That's the real question. As anime convention goers, what do we need superpowered shoes for? No, we don't need them. We need shoes that massage your feet while you're in line at LineCon.
And, this year we all had experience with that.
I think that shoe bit was pretty good. I Googled how to tell a joke, and they told me to talk about what I know. And I know shoes. I'm a runner.
You Googled how to tell a joke.
You're a runner?
And I'm my father's son?
Well, okay, look, after our first few panels, I realized, maybe I should make my panels funny.
You still haven't figured it out. You should Google that again.
The grappling hook belt. It's a grappling hook and a belt. And it even has a little, crank you can turn that you can lower yourself down to safety. That part...
I'm sorry, did you just put Conan's head over Lupin's head?
No, I found it like that.
You found his head replaced.
Yeah, I found it like
What
that.
fanfic is this?
You know, it's Detective Conan and the Castle of Cagliostro.
Detective Conan the Third.
Detective Conan the Third.
I'd watch that.
Unfortunately, the grappling hook belt does not have an 100% working rate, but that's fine. It's cool enough that it was stolen by the James Bond franchise. And stealing plagiarism aside, awful wiki design. Look at that. Uninspired, making things black and white does not make them cool. Compare this to the Conanpedia, where, first of all, excellent logo, catchy slogan, one truth prevails. You get the latest news where you can talk to the 4 other Detective Conan fans, including Natalie. And finally, at the top right, there's Conan himself looking at you, daring you to commit a crime he can't solve.
Conan's skateboard is both indestructible and able to defy the laws of gravity. Seriously, Conan uses this thing to get onto the roof of a soccer stadium in movie 16. He uses it to skate on the sides of cars in movie 22. And regularly in the opening things, he uses it to take flight. Like, skateboards seem pretty cool. They're not as bulky as bikes, so I wouldn't be breaking my back like every time I'm taking it up and down the stairs. Also, rather than looking like a highlighter, I could look like a Hot Topic ad instead.
How'd that Google search for that go for you?
It went so well.
I don't know which of these is most damning.
I think you should just move to the next slide.
So, we're going to talk
I
about
take those
drugs.
every morning.
So, Conan has a magical medicine called APTX 4869 Nice. This is a magical de-aging drug, but it only works once. I think it's super weird that in the Conan universe, it's in a poison, but in 100 Girlfriends, it's an immortality elixir. There's obviously some commentary there, but I'm not really going to read into it, given it's 100 Girlfriends, and that's creepy. Speaking of, trying not to read into things, let's do the opposite of that and figure out if Conan's even good at his job. So let's review a couple episodes, see if this kid can solve a case in a convincing manner.
As much as you joke that I didn't watch any Conan, I did watch episode 1. So it starts off with Shinichi in his pre-Conan form, solving a case, and the first thing he does is accuse the guy in a wheelchair, and then kicks a globe at him. So after that, definitely not discriminatory or yikes moment, he takes Ron on a platonic hangout. And, Shinichi's smart, but he's not smart enough to realize she's not into him talking about Conan all the time. Doing whatever else, they go to a roller coaster, and surprise, surprise, another murder.
What is coming out of his head?
Maybe it's censored blood, but I like to think it's his soul.
Just leaving his body.
This is what happens when you watch too much Detective Conan.
I was going to say he's becoming like a death beam in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, honestly, that makes sense, but this guy's kind of lucky. He just died. He wasn't sent to the world of Dungeons and Dragons. You can check out my Dungeons and Dragons panel on Sunday.
At noon.
At noon.
Is it noon? Yeah, it's noon.
So, Shinichi, being the progressive lad that he is, realizes the guy's gymnast girlfriend was the culprit all along. And that adds gymnast to the good old list of people not to trust. And I assume every other episode of Conan is exactly like that one.
That was another episode of Lupin the Third.
No, it wasn't. I swear.
Wait, no, Thomas, that was a Lupin episode.
Yeah, that was Guns, Buns, and Fun in the Sun.
No, they're very different episodes.
No.
Why do they have the same plot?
Yeah, why do they have the same plot? Why is that? That's a Lupin plot. Let's talk about a real Conan episode, the Shinkansen bomb case, aka Bullet Train 2. So in this episode, Conan, Ron, Kogoro, and for some reason, the Detective Boys are all riding a train. Sounds great. Love a good train. If you were here early, we rode one up here from Sacramento, and it was a train.
15 hours.
The Detective Boys do not have adult supervision. They were not invited. Their tickets were paid for. This leads me to believe that this is a blank check situation, though I hope it doesn't get as weird as that movie did. Conan then sees some perfectly innocent men and immediately profiles them as ne'er-do-wells. He does an illegal wiretap and finds out that they have given away a briefcase to someone that is going to explode the train. From here, Conan does some inductive reasoning to narrow down who has the briefcase, find them, and then kick it out of the train, preventing something really cool from happening. What's funny, though, is this episode thought... initially, they were like, okay, let's do gin and vodka. And then at the end, they're like, actually, it's Ueda and Shimoda. They're lookalikes. It's not the real gin and vodka. Because they didn't know what they were doing anymore.
Well, it's really important to put cosplayers in your anime to appeal to fans like us. Anyway, let's talk about the Holmes freak murder case next.
He's not in Sherlock Holmes, remember?
Fine. The Sherlock Hound freak murder
Thank
case.
you.
This episode starts with Conan entering himself in a contest to win a rare first edition book. Ron and Kogoro, they gotta go with him. Because if they don't, they're in trouble with CPS. And just like there's no stopping California from catching on fire, you can't keep Conan away from a Holmes-themed event. Now, on the car ride, Kogoro tries to fit in by talking about his favorite Agatha Christie novel, but everyone is really, really toxic about it for some reason. Guys, you're making your fandom look bad. Now, remember Heiji? He's here, and at the event, the organizer assigns a 1,000 question trivia for everybody to complete. I guess the trivia was too hard, because he gets murdered and his corpse drives his car off the cliff. 2 more crimes are committed, and it turns out that the culprit murdered the victims because they messed up a Sherlock character in a fan fiction. And here I thought the Agatha Christie fandom was toxic.
Hey, Thomas?
Yeah.
This is going to be a Conan episode, right?
Yes, it's going to be Conan. You have my word. Buns, guns, and fun in the sun. It's my favorite episode of Conan. Starts with a crane driving up the steps to the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro with an awful crash, significant property damage. The 3 perpetrators are arrested and taken to a maximum security prison. But don't worry, they've got Japan's best detective on the case, Kogoro. I'm just kidding, it's Inspector Zenigata.
One job!
But it's a good episode. This is the good old like projector bit. They do some casual Jesus spoo. They steal the statue and it springs a leak, showering Brazil with wealth. Like, this is good stuff.
Wait, even if it's cool, you were supposed to talk about Conan here.
Thomas, remember, when we were structuring this panel, we decided early on we were going to have a section on crossovers. And in that section, we were going to let you do as much Loop on the Third content as you wanted. But here you are, bleeding it into the rest of the panel. So just get it out of your system now. We still have 44 more slides. When we're done with this part, you are done with Loop on, okay?
Okay.
Good.
So Detective Conan has crossover with many franchises I know and love. The most obvious one that I would love to talk to you about is the Pokemon Detective Conan crossover musical stage play. And don't let this fool you. This is... Conan's in here. He's only in here for like 10 minutes. But
is that an Ash or a sleep paralysis demon?
I think that's supposed to be Ash.
Let's say, has anyone heard of this? I need to be clear. He's not making this up. This is a real thing.
It is real. And I've watched it 3 times. I enjoyed it for 2 times.
You guys should check it out. It's somewhere. Is it on YouTube? It's on.
It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
Well, don't worry, we're gonna tell them the whole plot.
Yeah, it has my favorite Detective Conan characters, Team Rocket. Kidnap Ash and replace him with an imposter. And then they switch to the social commentary and cause an ecological disaster by asking Caterpie to use string shot to kill all plant life on Earth. We all know in this, Ash is an imposter. That's kind of the whole point. But I have a theory. Conan is one as well. We know that because... Sorry, I did not practice. We know that because when Conan and Ash are throwing a ball to each other, that's just not wrong. Conan doesn't throw a ball. He kicks. Same with Ash. Ash is a caber tosser. So Ash cuts his hand like a moron playing ball. How do you cut your hand playing ball? It's round. So after Conan exposes him, the culprits are revealed to be Team Rocket, who are secretly Lupin the Third, Fujiko Mine, and Goemon the whole time. And I said this was Conan Media. I guess I lied. Conan's in 10 minutes of the whole hour. He is a side character.
So I feel like you missed a part. So Team Rocket's plan is obviously to kill all life on Earth, and the motive behind it, and I'm not kidding, is to sell tickets on their spaceship to Mars. Elon Musk had to have watched this and went, let's do it.
I need some escapism. I need video games. And thankfully, Conan's got us covered. He's not only ready to solve crimes, he's ready to game. Unfortunately, he's not allowed to play most of them. But make no mistake, Conan's in all the games you'd expect him to be in. Like Detective Conan Clue. I could see this happening. Who killed Kogoro? I'll bet it was Heiji in the library with the kick shoes. But Conan has more video game adventures, but for now, let's just leave him to starve in his Tamagotchi, where you can feed him pills.
Wait. Forget Conan starving to death. Us fans, we're the real ones starving to death. For content. No. I'm not talking about the unresolved Black Organization plotline. Who cares about that? I'm talking about the unsatisfying fact that Ron still hasn't figured out Conan's identity. Ron, you had 7 suspicion arcs. Girly Pop, you should know by now. If we can't get it in the manga, where can we get this? Who can we rely on? No one trusts the filler episodes. And when was the last time a live-action adaptation was any good? I mean, maybe One Piece?
I don't know about One Piece. There were some questionable decisions with the size of certain characters' body parts. That's right, Usopp's nose. But, if you did have an issue with, that's fine, I guess. If someone does look like that and wants to argue that that is realistic and you can look like that and that should be represented, that's fine. You can come up, maybe talk to us after the panel. Give me your number. I'm lonely.
Max, you just revealed my slide.
Yeah.
This is the place we can find what we're searching for is in fan fiction. Now, I'm sure we got some fan fiction readers in the audience, but don't worry if you don't read, because I got the perfect starting kit for you. First, the classic, The Mystery of Conan Edogawa. In this fanfic, Ron is super determined to prove that Conan is Shinichi. Her road's not easy. Conan tries to gaslight her at every single turn. But Ron, she sees right through his deception, gathers the evidence she needs, including a spy activity from their childhood and some totally legally obtained medical records. And then she girl-splains the mystery to Conan. You should also read 7%. The prose is amateur, but there's no need to worry because it's carried by its premise. Ron watches Shinichi shrink right before her eyes, and then the rest of the fanfic details their escape from being captured by the Black Organization. But if you want to read something more avant-garde, I have another option for you. You should read Aubrey and Ron, the parody comic about the best characters in DC. Here's the plot. First, they're trying to figure out who killed Shinichi. Then Kogoro calls Sonoko fat. Kaito Kid times how long it takes them to solve a riddle. Hamilton is referenced, so you know it's good. And at the end, Ron takes a bullet for Aubrey. We have no idea how the story ends, because, like many fan works, it was abandoned. But the most important thing is that Conan reveals his identity to Ron, which means it's more realistic than the canon.
So, I mean, it's just getting weird. So we've talked about if Conan's a good detective. We've talked about what people do with Conan. Let's kind of pick our own fans here. Let's figure out some cases. Let's find some cases and figure out if Conan could or could not solve them. The first one I've got is a doozy. We're going to figure out if Conan can solve the Zodiac Killer. It's been pretty tough, eluding cops for years, and solved.
But
Master detective.
But could Conan solve the Kira case? That's what we all want an answer to. So, we all know the true problem with this hypothetical is that there's no way Conan could beat Light in a game of tennis, and whoever wins the game of tennis wins in the end. That's just true. But I think Conan would be smart enough to challenge Light on his own terms, bring him to his own court, so they could play soccer or kickball or even Foursquare. Light would lose. And now this scene. Would Conan be able to determine what Light was up to from just this scene? No, not really. Would he think to put a single microphone in the batshit 64 cameras they installed? Obviously he would. And with this microphone he'd be able to hear, Light writing on the page or the mini TV or even all of his cringe giggling. So this is an easy dub for Conan.
The next case I'm curious if Conan can solve is that of Fooly Cooly. Specifically, could he tell me what it's about? This anime has befuddled the community for years. What's the plot? What's it about? What do the robots mean? What's the name a translation to? What's Hulu? We're gonna get Conan on the case. Problem? He's a child. And Fooly Cooly, that's on Adult Swim.
Oh no.
We tried hyping it up with some Mountain Dew Baja Blast, but he just had a sugar crash and went to bed sooner. So, guess I'll just have to rely on video essayists.
But could Conan deduce what happened to Nina and Alexander? Now, to figure this out, we need to remember Shinichi's biggest inspiration, Sherlock Hound Holmes, who did face some supernatural phenomena in his adventures, and he debunked it every time. So I think Conan would think he could disprove alchemy. After all, the zombies weren't real. The UFO was a plastic bag. This dog must just be wearing a wig. We know that Conan is a little know-it-all. Edward Eller, he's at least twice as charismatic as Conan. That Chimera would not have been repeating his name. And without that valuable evidence, he wouldn't be Detective Conan anymore. He'd be Defective Conan. And he would deduce that Shao Tucker did nothing wrong. This is so embarrassing.
It is, but don't worry, there's one more case. This is a big one. We're going to find out if Detective Conan can beat Air Bud at soccer. We all know Air Bud as the basketball star, the golden receiver, and undisputed king of Riz. But I bet you didn't know that dog can sure kick a ball. Not only can he dribble, he has a killer pass, and he does all of it while looking way better than Conan ever could. That's why Conan got Air Bud banned from competing in the school soccer tournament. His high-powered kick shoes weren't doing enough for him. He had to get his coach to lodge a complaint against the board for the team allowing a dog to compete. Well, Conan, joke's on you. Air Bud won that court case, won the tournament, and then won the World Cup for America. Not only that, Air Bud has solved a question that has plagued humanity for years. How do dogs wear pants? Where's my 1,000 plus episode Air Bud anime? This is bullshit. I declare this panel over. I'm going to start on my Air Bud panel, and yeah, we're done. He's done. You are not invited to the Air Bud panel. You are going to talk about, like, Beethoven. Anyway, you can follow that QR code. It will take you to our various social medias. We, again, have that link tree will take you to our Discord, our Twitch, our YouTube, where we upload our panels, our Blue Sky, and our OnlyFans. Our other panels are on this list. Unfortunately, you've missed 5th Gen Isn't Pokemon. But, you know, that's there we go. Animations
very
weird.
needed.
Yeah, those were necessary. So you can go to those. You can scan that QR code. We have some business cards up here if you would like one. And if you have a question, you can ask a question, and you will receive a ribbon for your badge. Yay!
Yay!
Of course, the Detective Conan community wouldn't have any questions.
Well, we thoroughly debunked them.
They know it all.
We told them everything they need to know.
I watched 5 episodes in preparation to this. That.
I watched at least one.
Is that including the Loop on the Third episodes?
Including I watched at least 20.
You guys are weak. I've seen over 700.
To be clear, it was literally, she's like, okay, we have to watch Loop on the Third. We'd watch one episode, and he'd be like, sorry, Detective Conan. And then he'd be like, wait, let's do Loop on the Third now.
And then we only watched Loop on the Third. I don't know what happened.
None of us had a subscription for Detective Conan. Wait, if anyone has a question, you can get a ribbon. If you don't have a question, you're dead to me.
These ribbons are really
We have
cool.
one.
Yeah.
So you said you watched 700 episodes. Which one was your favorite?
Which one was my favorite? I'm a big fan of the Desperate Revival arc. That's my favorite arc. I wish we could talk about it here, but didn't write something for it. It's